Hi, my name is Ashley Thompson, and I'm an education specialist student at Auburn University. This is my advanced field project, and what I did was I adapted my curriculum to coincide with Google Classroom. My school next year will be going to a one-and-one. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's one computer per child in every one of their classrooms. So even though I'm ag, I am expected to participate in Google Classroom as well. And so what I've done is I've taken some of my curriculum and adapted it for Google Classroom. So I'm going to show you a couple of features of Google Classroom. I'm going to show you some assignments that I've uploaded. And then in another video, I'm going to show you a view from a student's point of view. This will be what I can see from my computer and what I'm able to edit and work on as the teacher or the administrator of the classroom. Now, not all of my curriculum that I would do in the 9 weeks is going to be published on Google Classroom because we will be doing other activities that the students will not need computers for. But this really gives you a good insight of not only this curriculum, but how you can incorporate Google Classroom to make it interactive and interesting for your students. While I do teach 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and a basic agricultural class for high school credit, I am just going to show you some 6th grade curriculum that I've adapted. It is my goal that before school starts, which is very soon, that I'll have all 3 of the grades completed and all 4 classes uploaded on Google Classroom for my students to use this year. So when you come to the Google Classroom homepage, you will see your classes. If you will click on your class, and this one is titled for this field project, it will bring you to a screen that looks like this. So each student will have an individual access code that will give them access to the course. And so when you log on, you will be able to see all of your classes uploaded on the portal for Google Classroom. So there is an about section, a student section, and a stream section. In the about section, I've just uploaded that this was about my educational specialist class, my advanced project. And but you can also have a calendar. You can set up your Google Drive folder just specifically for your class. It also has your contact information, which is very important for your students. And then you also have a student section. So when students are invited to this page, they'll have a certain code that they will need to type into their Google Classroom portal, and it will bring them to this class. And only students with this code can have access. I can also invite students, and I can delete students from here. One thing that's really important is that you change the setting to meet your needs depending on whether or not you want students to comment and post on Google Classroom. With middle school students, I would probably just leave it so that only I could post, except for things like a discussion, which I'll show you later. But they do have the option that they can post and everyone in the classroom see it. So you'll just have to monitor that based on your students. So then you go to your stream, which is going to be where you post the assignments. And while that's loading, you can also select things like a theme, and you can upload pictures to make your classroom unique. All right, so here are the stream or the assignments. Again, the class code is also published. I'm going to scroll on down to the bottom because when you do add assignments to Google Classroom, it goes in the order that you upload them. So the things that you upload first are actually going to be at the bottom, which makes sense because as you add things, then your students will see those in real time. However, like when you publish everything up front, it does get kind of confusing, and you need to the students will see the last thing that you posted first rather than what you want them to see first. So Every one of my students is required to do an SAE project, part of the 3-circle model of agriculture education. So I actually post their SAE project on Google Classroom. I do also provide them paper copies if they wish, but this is going to be, I think, an easier way for students to access the documents, but also so that their parents can see them, and the resources are online so they can't say that they lost it. Also, it's going to save me a lot of paper. So for the SAE project, I've posted YouTube video links. These are videos I made a couple of years ago. I just explaining the instructions and going over the record book. I used to give the students the links and I would staple them in their agenda, but I'm hoping this is going to allow them to utilize the videos more because they'll have access to them. I also have published an information letter and a record book in a Google document. So the students are going to be able to type directly into the Google document, which is going to be really nice because I can see how many times they've edited it at the top, and then also timestamps, or like if they deleted something, which is going to be very helpful when working on participation grades and completion grades. Instead of doing anchor activities on paper or giving students busy work, one thing that you can use Google Classroom for is to publish things to do when students are done or they finish an assignment early. So one thing that I would like to try is different educational games. So the students that do finish early, at least they're still involving themselves in learning something about ag, but they're going to be more excited to use an online game. I've also uploaded a copy of our syllabus and the first day PowerPoint so that students are held accountable for what we discuss on the first day. Also, for the state of Georgia, we have to enroll in certain activities to have record of our students. So rather than me giving out a website, I am able to have the students directly click on the link and complete the assignment. And here I just have different assignments broken into lessons that deal with what we're talking about. I'm planning to do all of my notes on Google Classroom so that students don't lose them, but also so they're more engaged in taking them. I really don't like standing in front of students lecturing. In middle school, they don't really have the attention span. So what I'm going to try to do is providing them with the PowerPoints that I would use and have them go through and complete their notes on their own. That way they can work together. They're responsible for finding the information, and chances are they're actually going to probably pay attention to it more because they're having to actually read it to find the answers. All of my worksheets I have translated into Google Documents so that students can type directly on the Google document for the worksheet. Also, I hope this will eliminate the problem of I lost it or I was absent on the day that you did the assignment, because students will be able to access it at any time. You can set the due dates differently. So if you have students that you want to change the due dates, that may be helpful. So like this one has no due date, but I could change it. While we're here, I would like to show you how you post an assignment. If you click there's a little plus sign in the bottom right hand corner. It'll allow you to add an assignment. You can put the assignment title. I always put directions, a due date, and then you can attach the assignment. You can pull it from your Google Drive, or you can select files from your computer, flash drive, whatever you have. You can also access a Google Drive here. You can attach a YouTube video, or you can attach a website link. When you attach an assignment, you'll have an option to give the students a copy or for them to just view only. You're always going to want to have the students probably get their own copy. If you choose to do a view only, students will actually be able to pull up a chat feature so that they could type back and forth to each other. Depending on the assignment, that may actually be very useful for them if it's a discussion type thing, or maybe they're trying to work on something in groups or as a whole class. But I think making it so that each student has their own copy is going to help them stay more focused on what the actual task is rather than chatting back and forth with their classmates across the room. So, you can also repeat assignments. When you click the button in the bottom right hand corner, it gives you the option to create an announcement, which is not an assignment, it's just you giving an announcement for students. You can create an assignment, which is what I showed you. You can create a question, which is going to pose a discussion, or you can reuse a post for another class, which is really helpful if you have multiple sections of the same class, like I do, like 2 6th grade classes. They would each have their own classroom, but they would be doing the similar assignments. Also, one of the very cool features about Google Classroom is using Google Forms for tests and quizzes. You can create your quizzes in Google Classroom. The students answer them, and then there is an app that I read about called Flubaroo, and Flubaroo allows you to take the students' answers and it grades them for you using a Excel document. So when you use Google Forms for a test, your responses go into an Excel file, or a Google spreadsheet is what they're called. And you can add on the app Flubaroo and it will allow you to grade the assignments, which saves a lot of time. It does do answers, like multiple answers, but I find that it's just easier to do multiple choice. But of course, that's completely up to you as you familiarize yourself with the program. So more worksheets, more notes, things like that. One of the assignments that we do involves listening to something. So students can use their headphones and complete the assignments, which they really enjoy doing. More quizzes. One of the features on Google Forms is that you can allow the students to only answer the questions once, so you don't have multiple submissions, which can be very difficult to grade. My students, I hope, will find that using Google Documents will be easier for them because it automatically saves their responses and everything is saved in their Google Drive, which is going to be really important for middle schoolers because they tend to lose things. So I hope that that will be easier for them. YouTube videos are easy to upload. Students can then take, like in this assignment, they watch the 4 videos and then they add a Google document. It's very easy for students to just add on things. I'll show you that in the other video. So more assignments. You can post directions in PDFs so that students, you don't have to recreate the wheel. You can just upload things that you already have. And then here's a sample of a discussion question. You just pose the question and then the students can click on the question and they will be able to respond. You can grade it. Very easy discussions. When a student submits something, you can grade directly onto Google Classroom. The only bad thing is it does not flip over into your grade book, so you have to actually type in the grades twice. But at least the student gets immediate feedback. You can leave comments. You can reattach things to it if they need to resubmit it. Whatever you need to do for that. So these are just examples of ways that you can include assignments. It seems very intimidating at first, but it's actually very easy once you start working with it. I don't claim to be an expert at Google Classroom. I'm still learning, but I hope with the basics that I've picked up while trying to create this field project will help me as I incorporate it into my classroom this next year. So this is Google Classroom. This is a teacher view, so I'm going to have a little bit more options to create the assignments and things like that. And in my next video, I'll show you what a student view looks like and some of the features that those students have access to. Thank you very much.